There's really an elephant in this room for the past few days, and nobody is really addressing it, and to be honest, it's a little unnerving to me.
I flew from San Diego to London, England, and witnessed this at Jordan Peterson's art conference. Now, Jordan Peterson's art conference brought together hundreds of different thought leaders from all over the world, but this one speaker took the conversation to a whole nother level. So who is this man that you see sitting next to Jordan Peterson as he's being confronted by a Muslim regarding the doctrine of the Trinity? And you see him pop up here in Jordan Peterson's Exodus series. And he's even the interviewer in this famous clip where Jordan Peterson cries. This is Jonathan Pageau, a French-Canadian Eastern Orthodox public speaker and author, and someone that Jordan Peterson has strategically had in his corner for years, that always encourages him to think deeper and consider the implications of what Jesus means for his life in a personal way. So we're about to see what happened when Jonathan Pageau was asked to speak at the art conference and used his time to address the elephant in the room and confront the audience.
There's really an elephant in this room for the past few days. I've kind of noticed it, and everyone is kind of tiptoeing around it, and nobody is really addressing it. And to be honest, it's a little unnerving to me. There are a lot of religious people in this room. I saw a few guys that had like a giant cross, like not the little cross that you put under your shirt, but like the big cross. and I even saw a guy with.
There's a lot of Orthodox folks here, a lot of priests, and the guys with the hats. It was interesting, and this was a great talk by Jonathan.
With the yarmulke, but really, it's been a strange ghost that's floating through some of the talks with funny code words like transcended this and faith that, and then you have Bishop Barron that comes out like a wrecking ball, and he's like God and Jesus and Thomas Aquinas. It's like, whoa, what's going on?
His talk was dope. Again, they platformed a lot of amazing speakers. A lot of Christians were platformed at this thing, and this was not a Christian thing, okay? I mean, they flew me out to be at this thing, right? He goes into this like interesting conversation about what is the universe made of, and how one set of philosophers said that the universe is made out of values that go beneath the surface. And this is I want to say the Plato and the Aristotle. And then there was another, I forgot his name, but talks about the universe being made of matter and atoms. And so he comes back full circle, and Jonathan kind of gives this rebuke to the people at the conference, okay? This was very interesting.
Is that to understand, get, make, and control stuff, you need three things. You need understanding, you need will, and you need power.
So he's talking about this desire for people to get more stuff. He said, for people to get more stuff, you need these three things.
And you will be able to recognize any atheistic system worth its salt because it will always emphasize those three things. Understanding, how stuff works, will, directed energy in action, and power, the energy we need to do your will. And this was as true of Nietzsche as it was of Marx, and it's also true of Ayn Rand. And in these three, you have the three strains of modern politics: the communist tendency, the fascist tendency, and the libertarian tendency. All three are posited on understanding, will, and power. The problem is that this idea that the world is just made of stuff, and all we need to do is understand, make, and get stuff, it's a lie. And it's not just a lie, but it's a lie that has become manifest in one of the very reasons why we are having this conference today. When we hear pronouncements like we have lost our values, and because of that, the social fabric is fragmented, our societies are breaking apart. This is happening precisely at the moment when we have the most stuff.
Ain't that interesting? The moment we have the most stuff in society, the moment we're the most advanced, the moment where there's the least amount of people starving, the moment where there's the least amount of people in poverty, which, by the way, on a global scale, this is true, percentage-wise, we have the most drama, and we have the most despair, and we have the most degrees of self-deletion, and we have the most issues of mental health. Isn't that interesting?
The refusal of people to have children, the mental health crisis, the loneliness, the despair, and the hopelessness is happening all precisely when, and to a large extent, because we have more stuff than any visible time in history that we can identify. So what's happening? The truth is that Democritus was wrong.
Democritus, that was the other gentleman.
Now let me translate this for you. What does it mean to lose your values? To lose what you value? It means to lose what is good. What does it mean to despair? But to be incapable of perceiving that which is good. And what does it mean to fragment, if not to forget why and how it is good to be together, to forget the reason why we're together in the first place. So I think we have to be careful. And as I see everybody talking about progress, and I hear what people talking about human flourishing, we have to be careful and wonder what it is that we actually mean by that.
Progress and human flourishing, right? That's Alliance for Responsible Citizenship. That's what they're talking about. And he says, what do we mean by that, right? What do we mean by that? And I know, having talked to Jonathan a little bit and kind of having some mutual friends, he really wanted to kind of set this conference in the right trajectory. So listen to what he goes on to say next, because it's really interesting.
If what we mean is we just need to get the governments out of our way so that we can have more stuff, that we need to tackle the environmental concerns so that we can all have more stuff and more powerful stuff and bigger and faster and stronger stuff, then I think there's a very important warning to be had. I mean, of course, as a Christian, I believe strongly that we are called to help the poor.
Mm-hmm.
But if all we do in the world is get everybody to have more stuff, we will not solve the problem of despair, of sterility, of fragmentation, divorce. In fact, we will increase it.
Getting more stuff won't solve these problems. It would only increase it.
And so it seems like the ideas that Plato brought to light have to be explored and taken seriously once again. That is, the world can no longer be described only in terms of forces and stuff, but it has to be described in terms of categories of human consciousness, like attention, like relevance, like care. And maybe for some of you, that is too much of a jump to say that the world is made of care or that the world is made of love. But at least an acknowledgement that the human world is made of care, right? That without care, there is death. That without care, there's paralysis.
Yep.
And if we care for the wrong things, then there is chaos and tyranny in our lives and in our societies. And this is where I think that maybe I can help bridge some of the more religious and secular people. What it is that we place as the highest good, that which is placed above us as our guiding star, as the thing that pulls us forward into its good, is indistinguishable from a God.
Woo! Everybody has a God. And whatever you place as your North Star is your God. He said whatever you place as your highest good is indistinguishable from a God. He says this to a room where there's a lot of non-Christians. There's a lot of non-theists. There's a lot of atheists in this room. There's a lot of secular people in this room. In a very persuasive and elegant and charming tone, Jonathan's kind of rebuking these folks, guys.
Just like a God, that supreme value will drive us towards it, will subjugate all things to it, and the type of attention it will receive will be indistinguishable from worship.
The type of attention it receives will be indistinguishable from worship. Everybody is religious. The question is, what are you giving your worship to?
And if what we put at the top there is not, in fact, the supreme good, then it will twist reality, it will twist the facts, and it will twist the data into its service.
We're already seeing that, aren't we? We're already seeing that in terms of just even statements like your truth and my truth do exactly that.
And if we can't see that, if we can't understand that, we will never understand what happened to us during COVID. We will never understand.
That's the only clap he got, by the way. He said something negative about COVID. Everybody was like, yeah.
We will never understand that it was the worship of safety and control that made it impossible to weigh it against other goods.
The worship of safety and control.
To even posit other goods made you not only wrong, but a heretic that had to be banished and run out of the common space.
Woo!
And so we sacrificed, we subjugated all other goods, the education and mental health of our children, the communion with our families, our religious participations, and so many aspects of life which provide meaning and purpose for nearly 2 years in some countries.
Yeah.
And then the practical reasons became completely opaque. 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and then that no one should die, or maybe to keep the hospitals safe, then what? That no one should ever get the disease? That everybody had to be vaccinated with a vaccine that doesn't stop the spread of the disease? So what's the goal? What's the goal? It didn't matter. It no longer mattered what the little goals were anymore. Once the God has taken possession, all the facts, all the purposes, all the goods will simply serve that God. Now, safety is a good. Of course it is. Of course safety is a good. It is simply not the supreme good.
Safety is a good, it's just not the supreme good. The things that we think are good, they're just not the supreme good. And if you don't have a proper alignment of what is the supreme good, which is God, then these other things, like we saw in COVID, safety can become your God.
And it just needs to not pretend to be. And that's all we need. And so So what is it, right, Jonathan? What is the supreme good? And so I'm afraid that this is where the words fail us. Of course, for the good itself is not a good. It is goodness, just like truth itself is not a truth, but the mysterious standard by which we measure true statements. And it's the same reason why we notice that beauty is not beautiful. And so the philosophers and the theologians say that the capital G God is ineffable. So when Dante, in his comedy, reached the highest point of his ascent and entered into that mystery, he said, "Power here failed the deep imagining, but already my desire and will were rolled like a wheel that is turned equally by the love that moved the sun and the stars." The love, the care that moves the sun and the stars. That's not bad. That's not a bad way to talk about it. But for the secular people listening out there who might wince at the idea of the ineffable, that's fine. I understand it.
Listen up. This is so good. Listen, and look at his body language. Listen to how he's gonna say this, and the truth bomb that he's about to drop. Listen to what he says to them.
The only thing we actually need to know about that is whatever it is you're chasing right now, it ain't it. Whatever it is you think is the most important, it's not. It's not the most important. The supreme good is not money. It's not energy. It's not freedom.
Come on.
It's not family.
Yes.
It's not knowledge. It's not safety. It's not diversity. And it's not inclusion. Though all those things are good,
Yeah.
they should never be treated as the supreme good, lest they become idols and gods that will tyrannize us.
Wow.
And so the goods must dance together. They play against each other. They have to be put in proper hierarchies, where the more encompassing goods, like the virtues, guide the lower goods, like the stuff, with none of the goods completely ruling the others, or else they might become, once again, vices that will overwhelm you.
Become idols.
And so, and at least for now, I think that even for those who are here or those who are watching this, who do not believe and do not worship the supreme, ineffable good,
Which is Jesus.
at least keep your eyes high, and at least always look higher. And don't let your sight and your perception stop at the goods that you care about today. So thank you.
So he basically told him, keep your eyes high. Don't get caught up in this life. And I love when he said, man, when you, whatever you think the good is not it. Whether that's getting more stuff, having bigger houses, even good things. But those good things, when there is no supreme good, which is God, when you remove God, good things become God things and good things become idols. So I love Jonathan's talk, man. You guys should really go back and watch it. Check out some of the other stuff on there. I got so many things to talk to you guys about from this event. So if you guys want to keep the dialogue going, make sure you're subscribed on Patreon. I'll be posting the unedited live streams and giving you guys some more insights from this event. But there's good things happening, ladies and gentlemen. Like there's good things happening. At least in these circles, there's a shift happening where people want to talk about God more, where people are open to the idea of there may be a God or there may be something beyond just the material. That there may, and they're starting it on this like kind of abstract, the way they're talking about it, it's kind of, I don't say artsy, but it's like the transcendence and all this kind of language. But as they're going deeper, I think they're going to arrive on that there is a God and he has standards and he is the light and he is the truth and his name is Jesus. And so I'm grateful that they flew me out, right? There was no strings attached. I just went and took my family and had a good time. But I like that they platformed Christians. I was fortunate enough to hang out and do like a devotional thing and a prayer thing. Guys, go get the prayer journals. You need this in your life, okay? You need this in your life. One of the favorite things we were doing as a family was as we were gone, each of us were taking time and writing out our praise reports, writing out our prayer requests for other people. The format is the exact format that me and my family follow. We got it in tan. We got it in black. They're shipping now. So go pick one up. BlessGodPrayer.shop. BlessGodPrayer.shop. I think oftentimes just praying for your family members, praying for the hand of God, praying for things in your own life to happen. One of the best ways. And then seeing these things happen because you write them down and you remember them. Love you guys. I'll see you later. All right. Peace.